wrong way again.
Yeah, we're going to be using Squadrats, which is an app, to try and cover as much ground as possible, and every bit of road that we take, or every bit of ground that we cover, a little green box is then highlighted where you've gone.
La veille de la sortie, du coup, on a regardé avec Liam plutôt sur Strava. On a regardé aussi les images, les différents endroits où on pouvait avoir les meilleurs paysages pour faire les meilleurs stops.
The difficulty comes on this island is like there's not many roads linking up. It's quite a small island, I guess. There's just all these little local roads, maybe some gravel.
So we're going to try and cover the island as much as possible on our bikes in order to fill up these green squares, these squadrants. Yeah, just try and cover as much ground as possible.
We've ridden in Menorca so much, but this will be like the same, but not the same, you know what I mean? We'll be able to see Menorca from the hill, from the top of the climb at the end.
We're going to just try and see where the route takes us, really. Gravel roads, uphill, downhill, see if we make any wrong turns, I guess.
Do you have the route or no?
Do you have the route?
Yeah.
Yes.
One says that way and one says this way. So we're going to rock, paper, scissors.
Un,
deux, trois. Okay, we're coming around, we're turning.
Nous sommes partis du coup de la côte est au lever du soleil. Je trouve ça super cool de découvrir les différents paysages à vélo, c'est vraiment ce que j'aime. Et un petit peu effrayée qu'elle à l'idée de faire 200 km avec un nouveau vélo, mais très contente de pouvoir le tester sur des parcours comme ça.
The route we've planned is 200 kilometers, just slightly under, and about 2,800 meters of climbing. So yeah, depends. If we can follow the whole route, then we'll just do that. You know, some of these roads might not be able to go down.
We're on the east side of Menorca, sunrise, and we've got a bit of a loop of the island, and yeah, finishing back in the middle on the highest point. So up there for the end of a big day.
Yeah, we started right in the east of the island, so everything was in front of us, kind of so to speak. Time to use on the cycle and not have to worry about everything else.
Dès le début, du coup, au bout de à peine 10 km, on a déjà commencé par prendre la mauvaise route.
The route goes this way.
On roule là?
Yeah, yeah.
Ok.
You got there, and turns out it's like a boardwalk. Then it turned into like a hiking trail. I wanted to carry on just to see what it was going to be like. But yeah, Julia was not really too keen on that, so just fair enough because it was pretty like mountain bikey. But yeah, also at the start you don't want to get a puncture and then be stranded down there, and that's going to affect the whole day. So yeah, we just turned around.
Beautiful, but too hard.
On the north, it was more like Lanzarote type rocks, very exposed.
Quand on peut voir notre trace finale, on voit qu'on a fait quand même pas mal d'allers-retours parce que c'est des routes sans issue.
Now we go back into the headwind.
Je connaissais pas du tout Liam avant d'arriver ici. C'est une personne vraiment cool, il est super joyeux, toujours positif. Il avait aussi une bonne expérience pour tracer le parcours, donc ça nous a beaucoup aidé parce qu'il fait souvent des longs trips à vélo. Et Liam, il aime beaucoup rouler sur le plat avec beaucoup de vent.
Yeah, Julia, the first time meeting her, yeah, she was super good, really easy to ride with. She's a professional, so just stick her on the front, really.
Oui, on a eu la chance de pouvoir tester le vélo sur vraiment des parcours complètement différents. Sur les parties de gravel, j'ai pu me rendre compte que le vélo il était quand même confortable, notamment grâce à la tige de selle. est à peu près à un quart du parcours là. On a fait 54 km et je me sens bien, c'est agréable de rouler ici. Mais là, il commence à faire chaud. Il roule très vite sur les parties plates.
Oui.
When we did hit those main roads where it was flat, bit of wind, yeah, turned into like a really just fast road bike, which was perfect for basically every type of terrain and gradient you hit. The down tube storage was pretty handy because yeah, I needed to adjust my cleats at one point, realised I didn't have an Allen key on me and then remembered in the bike, so just whipped that out, quick adjustment, put it back in, no rattling or anything, it just does its job. Halfway through the ride, we stopped at this Stonehenge-esque site.
Problat Talontic D. So yeah, we'll pop in there, have a little explore, see what it's like, and yeah, just chill for 10 minutes. Basically halfway, so good chance to stop.
On s'arrête ici du coup pour aller voir la pierre et après on repart pour 120 km, 110 km.
How was the ride so far?
C'est un petit peu long, mais il y a des beaux paysages donc c'est cool et on a hâte de voir la suite de l'île.
So yeah, there was some like cutouts in the ground where they were rocks, big rocks, like balancing on top of each other. Which yeah, from what we could see, this area had been there from like 1000 BC.
What did you say?
Slowly eating.
I am.
And she complained that you're sweating, but no salt on your outfit.
Oh,
And she's all salty.
yeah, I don't normally sweat that much.
Yeah.
I eat a lot.
You're not salty it's because you just drink mineral water.
Oh, okay.
And she does.
Oh, you're having this
Yeah,
electrolyte.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, good point. Yeah, she's the real genius, forget what I said.
Les paysages, il y a un peu de tout. On s'est retrouvé un moment dans un endroit assez aride, un peu lunaire.
I don't know if the wind like naturally comes from the north, which means it's more exposed.
Bit freaky.
So after Liam, what is the plan?
Back, down, around,
Okay.
up the climb.
Okay. And after it's finished.
Yeah,
Okay.
then
Nice.
dinner.
Ah. Et c'est vrai que dans les chemins de cailloux, on a croisé que des gens en VTT qui nous disaient « Waouh, vous êtes fous !» avec votre vélo de route. Et c'était drôle, je me suis rendu compte qu'on n'avait pas forcément le bon matériel, mais le vélo, il est tellement polyvalent en fait que même dans ces chemins-là qui étaient plus VTT, c'est très bien passé, donc sans danger.
Allez, allez.
I was like, why the f these cars go down here? They're never going to make it.
So, yeah, it looks like the cars can't get through this gravel section.
On est à 20 km de l'arrivée, mais j'ai bien peur qu'on voit jamais le sommet, parce qu'on s'est retrouvé sur une route de gravel, et c'est un peu compliqué quand même. Heureusement qu'on a les nouveaux Endurace.
Yeah, I think that translates to they're stuck.
Oh look!
That's the hill.
There's a summit.
Yes, we got to the start point at like 7 in the morning. After being out all day, we got to the bottom of the El Toro climb at like 7, I think. So, and then yeah, Julia just turned the gas on and I was just completely spat.
J'aime les cols et j'ai apprécié pouvoir la faire avec ce vélo qui est quand même vraiment léger et qui répond vraiment bien quand on met des attaques. Oui, je savais que Liam aime un peu moins la montagne, donc j'ai voulu un peu tester ses limites comme lui il a pu tester les miennes sur le plat avec le vent en face. Pour moi, c'était vraiment un défi à relever, parcourir 200 km, cocher toutes les cases d'une île pour découvrir les différents paysages, les variétés de routes. Ouais, c'était vraiment une opportunité et sur un nouveau vélo, l'Endurace SLX qu'on a pu tester du coup sur ce parcours. Et ouais, j'en garde que des bons souvenirs, notamment mon préféré c'est le coucher du soleil au sommet du dernier col. It's the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, this bike is built for basically what we did today. Long rides, but you want to be comfortable the whole time, but you also don't want to be going slow, you can still go fast. And obviously comfort is speed, so being comfortable is super important. I reckon we probably definitely hold the record for the most green squares on Squadrats in Menorca at this point. I challenge anyone to come out here and try and beat that.